This is a honey badger. Nothing scares him. He keeps on coming. The snake tries to run.
This is a honey badger. Nothing scares him. Not the size of his enemy, not the venom in their fangs, not even the grip of a serpent that could crush bones. He keeps on coming. The snake tries to run, but once the honey badger has locked onto its target, it doesn't back down. It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't fear. It finishes what it starts. Few creatures in the wild have that kind of relentless drive. In the Everglades, something new is stirring, something that wasn't supposed to be here. When a creature like the honey badger enters the wrong ecosystem, the balance can shift in ways no one can predict. That's the thing about apex predators. They don't adapt to their surroundings. The surroundings adapt to them. At first, people didn't believe it. They laughed at the idea, like they always do when a strange rumor surfaces from Florida. The state is famous for its wild headlines. Giant lizards in backyards, crocodiles on golf courses, strange creatures turning up in storm drains. So when whispers started about hundreds of honey badgers being released deep inside the swamps, it sounded like another internet myth. But something strange is happening in the Everglades, something the government isn't talking about. Reports began to surface quietly. Missing pythons, claw marks in unexpected places, nighttime growls echoing through empty canals. Hunters claimed to have seen shadows moving through the sawgrass. Biologists said it was impossible. But the evidence started adding up. This was a place already under siege. Burmese pythons had transformed the entire ecosystem of southern Florida. It all began innocently, like most ecological disasters do. These snakes didn't invade as an army, they slithered in as pets. In the 1970s, a handful of snake enthusiasts imported Burmese pythons, fascinated by their massive size and exotic beauty. To them, they were just unusual pets, long, impressive, something to show off. But novelty wears off. Over the years, owners realized they couldn't control 15-foot monsters in their living rooms. Some abandoned them. Others lost them during hurricanes. Some simply let them go. The wild began to absorb them. By the 1980s, scattered sightings started coming in. A python here, another there. Officials said they were isolated escapes, nothing to worry about. They were wrong. In 1992, the storm came. A storm so powerful that it changed Florida forever. Hurricane Andrew ripped through the South like a blade through silk. Homes were destroyed. Power lines fell. Reptile breeding facilities were torn apart. Hundreds of snakes were scattered into the wilderness overnight. The Everglades, a sprawling wetland with endless cover, warm temperatures, and abundant prey, became the perfect hiding place. No natural predators, no winter to slow them down. A paradise for a species that hunts in silence. And so they spread, slowly at first, then rapidly, through canals, swamps, backyards, and reserves. 2 decades later, Florida realized it was facing something it couldn't control. The Burmese python wasn't just surviving here. It was thriving. Tens of thousands of them now call southern Florida home. Some estimate the number is far higher than what official counts admit. They live long, breed fast, and need almost nothing to endure. A python can go months without eating. It can disappear beneath water for hours, wait in the brush for days, strike in seconds. Many grow over 18 feet long and weigh more than 200 pounds. Some females carry dozens of eggs at once. They have become ghosts in the marsh, silent rulers of a land that never evolved to stop them, and their impact was devastating. The Everglades, once loud with the movement of wildlife, grew quiet. Raccoons, rabbits, opossums, even bobcats, species that had lived here for centuries, began to vanish. By the early 2000s, field researchers noticed entire areas where once common mammals had been wiped out. Surveys showed raccoons down by 99%, opossums by 98%, bobcats nearly gone. Birds, too, began to fall silent. The pythons eat almost anything: deer, turtles, alligators, other snakes. Photos of massive pythons with alligators inside their stomachs shocked the world. For scientists, it was confirmation of their worst fears. An apex predator with no natural enemies had taken over. The Everglades had become a hunting ground ruled by creatures that were never meant to be here. Florida fought back, or at least it tried to. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission launched python removal programs. Hunters were offered bounties. Entire competitions like the Python Challenge were created, drawing thousands of participants into the swamps, armed with flashlights, snake hooks, and sheer nerve. Every year, hundreds, sometimes thousands of pythons were caught. But it wasn't enough. For everyone captured, dozens more were breeding deep in the marsh. Technology joined the fight. GPS collars, radio telemetry, drones, even environmental DNA that could detect their presence in water. Researchers used Judas snakes, fitting captured pythons with trackers, then releasing them to lead hunters to others during mating season. The tactics grew more advanced, but the snakes grew more numerous. The war against the pythons became a psychological game. Hunters crawled through waist-deep swamp water at night, knowing that the next step could bring them face-to-face with a creature capable of wrapping around them in seconds. Biologists worked in silence, knowing they weren't eradicating anything, only slowing the inevitable. "We can't win," one researcher admitted. "We can only hold the line." Meanwhile, the public watched in fascination. Social media exploded with videos of python captures. Tourists treated it like a spectacle, filming hunters as if it were a safari. News stations called it Florida's serpentine nightmare, and then came the rumors. The honey badger, a creature almost as feared as it is admired. Native to Africa and parts of Asia, known for taking on cobras and lions, it's not something anyone expected to see in Florida. At first, it was just whispers. A few hunters claimed they saw small but powerful shadows moving in the night. A ranger swore he heard deep growls he'd never heard before. Then the python carcasses started turning up, not just dead, but ripped apart. The claw marks didn't match any known Florida predator. Officials denied everything. The story spread online like fire. Florida released honey badgers, some claimed. A secret project to control the pythons, others said. Whether or not it was true, the ecosystem was shifting again. People who once saw endless snakes at night began to see fewer. Hunters started finding half-eaten pythons. Quiet government cleanups followed. Even Governor Ron DeSantis was briefed on unusual environmental developments, though no one outside official circles knows exactly what that means. But if the rumors are true, Florida may have just introduced one of the most fearless predators on Earth into a landscape already spiraling out of control. Invasive species don't just disrupt, they rewrite the rules. The Burmese python had wiped out nearly every small and mid-sized mammal species in parts of the Everglades. Marsh rabbits, raccoons, opossums, foxes, all nearly gone. With them disappeared the ecological roles they played. Seeds stopped spreading. Birds that scavenged lost their food sources. Plants grew differently. Everything was changing. Ecosystems are like webs. Pull one thread too hard and the whole structure shifts. Add another predator, like the honey badger, and the outcome becomes unpredictable. It might tip the balance, or it might break it entirely. Efforts to repair the Everglades have already cost millions. Decades of battles have barely slowed the invasion. Hunters, scientists, rangers, all fighting against a tide they can't control. They can track snakes, catch them, study them, but they can't outbreed them. They can't undo what's already been done. If honey badgers really are roaming those swamps, then Florida may have accidentally or intentionally started another ecological war. One predator against another. An apex versus an apex. The fascination is undeniable. Tourists talk about it. Hunters swap stories in hushed tones. Viral videos show strange claw marks in the mud. In online forums, theories grow wilder by the day. Some say the badgers are working. Others claim the snakes are simply hiding deeper. But one thing is certain. Something is happening out there. Something the public isn't fully being told. Decades ago, Burmese pythons slipped into Florida's ecosystem almost unnoticed. What began as a curiosity became a catastrophe. They conquered the Everglades not with noise, but with silence. Now, as honey badger sightings rise and python numbers seem to dip, some believe Florida may finally have a weapon powerful enough to fight back. Others fear it's only the beginning of a new kind of chaos. Because when you introduce a predator like the honey badger, one that doesn't back down, doesn't scare, doesn't stop, you're not just trying to fix nature. You're rewriting it, and nature doesn't like being rewritten. For years, scientists have described the Everglades as a living laboratory of loss. Every python born is a reminder of a mistake that can't be undone. Every missing rabbit, every vanished fox, every silent night where there was once a chorus of wildlife, that's the cost. If honey badgers are really out there tearing into the python population, Florida may be witnessing the collision of two invasive forces, a fight that was never supposed to happen. The Everglades has always been resilient. It has survived storms, floods, human encroachment, and more. But this is different. This is an invasion layered upon an invasion. The ecosystem isn't just damaged, it's shifting beneath everyone's feet. Scientists warn it could take a century for balance to return, if it ever does. And balance doesn't always mean what people want it to. Sometimes nature finds its own way. Sometimes it fights back in unexpected forms. The honey badger doesn't care about environmental plans or state policies. It doesn't follow conservation strategies. It follows its instincts. If unleashed into the swamps, it will do what it has always done: hunt, fight, and survive. Whether that saves Florida's ecosystem or drives it deeper into chaos remains to be seen. One thing's for sure. In the heart of the Everglades, beneath the black water and tangled reeds, something is moving. Something fast. Something fearless. And it's not afraid of snakes. Over the years, the phenomenon has grown far beyond local boundaries, leaving a lasting imprint on cultures around the world. Its reach is no longer limited to one region or community. Instead, it has evolved into a global wave that continues to inspire, challenge, and reshape perceptions. This influence can be seen in media, language, entertainment, and even in the way people interact with each other online. Social media platforms have played a critical role in magnifying this impact. What may have once started as a niche topic has now turned into a mainstream conversation that crosses borders and connects people from vastly different backgrounds. In many countries, it has become a symbol of modern expression, a shared cultural reference that binds communities in unique ways. The diversity of interpretation adds richness, allowing each culture to mold it according to its own traditions and perspectives. In addition to entertainment, its influence can also be felt in fashion, lifestyle, and marketing. Brands and creators have embraced it, using its popularity to shape campaigns that resonate deeply with audiences. This blending of pop culture and digital trends is a clear reflection of how deeply it has become embedded in the collective consciousness of people worldwide. With great popularity comes great confusion, and this topic is no exception. Many myths and misconceptions have emerged, often overshadowing the actual meaning and context. These misunderstandings are usually fueled by incomplete knowledge, assumptions, or the rapid spread of misinformation online. One of the biggest misconceptions is that it represents something negative or controversial by default. In reality, much of what people assume is simply a product of exaggeration or misinterpretation. Another common myth is that its meaning remains the same everywhere. In truth, it changes drastically depending on culture, generation, and even personal interpretation. The fast-paced nature of online communication often amplifies these myths. Memes, jokes, and viral posts can distort meanings, creating layers of confusion. Addressing these misconceptions is important because clarity helps preserve the original intent while allowing space for evolving interpretations. To understand its relevance, it's essential to look at how it appears in everyday life. From casual conversations to major cultural moments, real-life examples highlight its adaptability and widespread acceptance. People use it in social media captions, short videos, text messages, and even in professional contexts, sometimes subtly, sometimes directly. One striking element is how quickly it enters mainstream conversations. A single viral post or trending meme can bring it to millions of screens overnight. Youth culture, in particular, plays a big role in keeping it alive and constantly evolving. They don't just use it, they reinvent it, shaping new meanings and associations with each passing trend. In media and entertainment, it has been referenced in shows, music, and interviews, giving it a more layered identity. What started as a simple expression has now become a part of storytelling, humor, and even serious discussions. Beyond language and pop culture, its presence has psychological and social implications as well. For many, it serves as a way to express emotions, identity, or belonging. People feel more connected when they share a common language or reference point, and this shared understanding often strengthens community bonds. On a psychological level, using it can create feelings of inclusion and validation. It's a reminder that one is part of a larger cultural conversation. For others, it may serve as a form of humor or emotional release, helping to navigate complex feelings in simple ways. Socially, its influence has contributed to shaping how people communicate online. It encourages creativity, playfulness, and cultural exchange. However, it also highlights the importance of context, as not everyone may interpret it the same way. No discussion of its rise would be complete without acknowledging the role of social media platforms. They are the engines that have powered its global reach, turning it from a niche expression into a cultural phenomenon. Platforms with large, diverse user bases amplify trends quickly, making even the smallest phrase or gesture go viral within hours. Each platform contributes in its own way. Some emphasize short-form content, where it thrives in captions and hashtags. Others foster long-form discussions, allowing people to explore deeper meanings. Algorithmic promotion also plays a huge role, ensuring that the most engaging or entertaining uses reach massive audiences. This digital ecosystem creates a feedback loop. Users create, platforms amplify, and the trend spreads further. What makes it powerful is not just its origin, but how people remix and reshape it over time. What started as something small has evolved into something far more dynamic and complex. Its meaning has shifted with each wave of adoption, adapting to new platforms, audiences, and cultural shifts. Early usage was often simple, confined to specific groups or communities. Today, it's part of a global digital vocabulary that transcends language barriers. This evolution reflects broader changes in how people communicate. As online culture accelerates, trends emerge and fade faster. But some, like this one, endure by evolving. New layers of humor, symbolism, and context are added over time, keeping it relevant for new generations. Looking at its journey, it's clear that its staying power comes from its flexibility. It doesn't belong to one era or group. It constantly reinvents itself. Looking ahead, its presence is not expected to fade away anytime soon. Instead, it's likely to become more layered, more global, and more adaptable to the rapidly changing digital environment. Online culture evolves at lightning speed, and this particular trend has already shown its ability to keep up with shifting platforms and new audiences. In the future, we may see it become even more embedded in pop culture, media, and branding. Companies may use it more strategically in marketing campaigns, while creators will continue to reshape its meaning in creative and unexpected ways. It may also merge with other emerging trends, forming entirely new expressions that define the next wave of online communication. Another key development will be its integration with emerging technologies, such as AI-driven content creation, virtual experiences, and digital storytelling. These tools will give people new ways to express and reinterpret its meaning, ensuring it remains relevant for years to come. Like every popular trend, it has also faced its fair share of criticism and backlash. Not everyone embraces it positively. For some, it represents an oversimplification of communication, while others see it as a symbol of cultural change they don't fully understand or accept. Critics argue that overuse can dilute its meaning, turning something meaningful into just another passing fad. Others point out that it can be misunderstood or misused, leading to confusion or controversy. These debates highlight the generational and cultural gaps that often emerge around viral phenomena. However, backlash is also part of what keeps trends alive. Discussions, disagreements, and even criticism can bring more attention, allowing the phenomenon to grow, evolve, and reach new audiences. In this way, resistance often becomes part of its journey rather than its end. Its rise to mainstream visibility has been fascinating to observe. What once existed in small digital spaces is now part of global entertainment, television, and music industries. Major brands, celebrities, and media organizations have adopted and popularized it further, giving it a more polished and widely accepted identity. This integration is often visible in interviews, talk shows, songs, movies, and advertisements. Its usage in these spaces not only amplifies its reach, but also gives it a stamp of cultural approval. Once a trend makes its way into mainstream media, it often transforms from a niche reference to a part of everyday language. This transition also helps it reach people who are not active on digital platforms. It bridges the gap between online subcultures and the general public, creating shared cultural touchpoints that bring different generations together. Language is constantly evolving, and this phenomenon has contributed significantly to that change. New slang, phrases, and expressions often emerge from cultural movements like this, eventually finding their way into everyday conversations. Its influence has led to shorter, more expressive forms of communication. People now convey emotions, humor, and entire stories in just a few words, symbols, or references. This not only shapes how we speak, but also how we think, interact, and express identity. It also plays a role in uniting people across languages. Because of its visual and emotional appeal, it can be understood by people even if they don't speak the same language, making it a powerful tool for global connection. Interestingly, it has also caught the attention of educators, linguists, and cultural researchers. Universities and scholars are increasingly studying such trends to understand how language, communication, and culture evolve in the digital age. They explore how this phenomenon spreads, why people adopt it, and what it reveals about human behavior. These academic studies help document cultural shifts that might otherwise disappear with time. It also offers valuable insights into the role of humor, identity, and shared language in online communities. In the classroom, such trends are sometimes used to make learning more relatable, helping students connect theory with real-world cultural examples. What started as a simple expression or cultural trend has grown into a valuable economic tool. Companies have learned to tap into its popularity for advertising, product promotion, and audience engagement. This has led to collaborations, sponsorships, and viral campaigns built around it. Merchandise, digital content, and influencer collaborations often use it to attract younger audiences. It has essentially become a form of cultural currency, something that can be used strategically to build brands, boost visibility, and create emotional connections with audiences. This economic angle shows how trends can go far beyond humor or language. They can shape industries, open new markets, and even create career opportunities for those who understand how to harness their power. A big part of its appeal comes from the humor and creativity it inspires. Memes, short videos, GIFs, and reaction posts have turned it into something more than just a phrase or idea. People use it to express sarcasm, emotions, or clever commentary on real-life situations. This creative freedom keeps it fresh. Each person adds their own flavor, which leads to countless variations. Some become viral overnight, while others quietly contribute to the trend's ongoing evolution. This organic creativity is what sets cultural phenomena like this apart from temporary fads. More importantly, it creates a shared language of humor that crosses boundaries and connects people through laughter. Young people have always been the driving force behind cultural and linguistic shifts, and this trend is no exception. Digital natives, those who grew up with technology, are at the center of its growth. They are not just consumers, but active creators, remixing and reshaping the trend in ways that keep it alive. Their ability to adapt quickly to new platforms, experiment with humor, and set new cultural standards makes them essential to its evolution. What's remarkable is how they manage to blend their personal experiences with global trends, creating a unique and ever-changing identity for it. This strong youth influence also ensures that it remains dynamic rather than static. As younger generations continue to innovate, the phenomenon will keep expanding in new directions.